Welcome to Creating Disney Magic with Lee Cockerell. Lessons in leadership, management, and customer service. You can create magic too. I'm your host, Jody Mayberry, and joining me from Orlando is Lee Cockerell. Lee, how is it going in Orlando?
That's going well. Good to hear from you. And it's hotter than blazes
Well,
and
we
pouring rain. I mean, every day, tons of rain.
we had a
So,
hot day here, Lee. It got up to 80 degrees. I declared to my family that I didn't think I could survive through the day. And I know that doesn't sound hot to you, but that is 19 degrees above our normal. And
yeah, yeah.
but I made it. I made it. So I will say if you need to get to either a warmer climate or join me in a cooler climate, the people to call is Magical Vacation Planner. You can reach them at 407-442-2694. Let them know you need a vacation to some better weather, and they can certainly help you out with that. Okay, Lee, I'm pulling out Creating Magic, the book. I referenced it for something the other day. I was looking something up and I came across something I thought, oh, Lee needs to talk about this. I want to hear more because this is pretty cool. On page 180. So you're talking about how leaders need to answer tough questions. And then you talk about a leadership conference hosted by Disney University, and you did three sessions called The Top 10 Questions You Wish People Would Not Ask You. And I said, okay, I know I've read this book like four times, but I just have to know more about those sessions.
Well, what I was trying to make sure that I was connecting with all the people in that meeting, managers, leaders, anybody there. And I thought, well, a good subject would be to really just lay it out there and invite them to ask me anything they want to prove to them that I don't care what the question is. And I even told them, you don't have to stand up and ask it. You can email it. You can have somebody, your friend, read it. You can send it to HR. Just the question is the key. And I'll answer it the best I can. And I think that sent a strong message to everybody. They ask all kinds. I told you once they asked me, one of the questions was, "Why do you get a company car?" And I said, "Well, you ought to be glad I do, because well, that means you might get one someday too when you get in the right position." Or why did we give health care benefits to gays and lesbians? And I said, well, because we treat everybody the same. It's one of our it's we treat all people equally and respectfully. And one of them said, what do you think about Michael Eisner saying that a monkey could run the Disney parks? And I said, well, he shouldn't have said that, I don't think, but that's certainly not true in my opinion. And it's too bad that he said that, if he said it. And the reason I say the ask any question you want, because the worst answer or the one might be, I don't know. I'll have to get back to you. And so if you can line up your answers with your values of telling the truth, of getting a conversation going around something like that and defending your position, it seems like a good thing to do for your team to know who you are, where you're coming from, what your expectations are, and what your leadership style is about showing respect and inclusiveness to everybody. And don't be afraid of the hard questions, because if there's 5,000 people sitting in the audience, every one of them's got a different issue, a different problem, a different concern, a different, people are afraid to ask. Psychological safety is not present sometimes in corporate life or business life. We kind of hold back. We want to ask a question. We want to tell the boss something they ought to know, but it's you don't feel safe. You're afraid we'll get the wrong impression, or they'll remember that, or they might hold you back, or they might, who knows? Because generally, I would say that most people don't trust leadership as leadership, the boss, in business anyway. And maybe a good reason they don't is because we hear every day of leaders letting people down and lying and misusing resources and doing the wrong thing. And so it's kind of become a part of the culture of the world that leaders, you got to be careful what you say to your leader. You got to make sure you're not annoying them or having them get a bad impression for you. So a lot of people just they fly low. They try to keep out of trouble, and where all the big progress is made in any organization or families when you know the truth, the whole truth, when the hard things are put out there in front of you. And I'm working with a client right now who sent me a note telling me he had 3 people he was concerned about, and we were talking about how to deal with that. And uh, with AI right now, a lot of companies, this one happens to be worried about their AI and how they can get it up to speed faster and more understandable, how to use it in their business. And they don't feel like it's moving along very quickly. And I went back to rethinking when you got these hard problems today, and I'm going to recommend to him that you get those 5, 6, 7 people in a room. And, I don't care if it takes you 1 day, 2 days, 3 days to figure out what AI means, what it does it mean to your business, what do you want it to be able to do, who can we get to help us understand how to do it, and instead of trying to go through your day as a person handling things in 30-minute meetings, an hour meeting, a half-hour meeting, another hour meeting, to get in and isolate yourself on the really big things that you've got to do and that are high priority right now. And when you do that, and you go in a room, get off site, and you get the key people in that room, and you have somebody there taking down the decisions that are made and what the due dates are and what the check-in dates are and when it's going to be done. And then you schedule meetings every week to go over it, make sure that we've got it on track, and that you make sure you make people feel comfortable about telling you if they need help or they need assistance or they need more clarification. And all of a sudden, you will come up with the right answer. You'll come up with a plan, and you'll come up with it very quickly instead of everybody just going about their day trying to do their job independently from the other people. And maybe sometimes we don't know what to do. We don't know what the boss really wants. What does he want it to be able to do? What is it going to replace? How are we going to develop it? What's the price going to be? Uh, and when you're all in one room, you can come to those conclusions. And when you have the right people in the room, you need all of their thinking, because it's not just an IT problem, or it's not just a leadership problem, or it's not just a sales problem, or not. It's it. Everybody in that room has a different point of view on what it should do, and how it can do it, and how we can get there. And you might even come to the conclusion you don't know how to do it, and you have to go out and hire the best AI guy in the world, or the best IT person in the world to come in that's already doing it. And another suggestion I had was go online and look at all the people doing it. And first find out what they're doing. And then if you like it, take those ideas and use them. And if you kind of like them, take them and put them in, develop them into how it'll work for your organization, and use the resources of the internet, and search to find lots of examples of people that might be a year ahead of you already, how they're doing it, what they're doing with it. And I think we got to get less isolated. We got to get together as a team and talk about the plays. What are we going to do? How are we going to do it? Who's going to do it? We're in this together, instead of out separately in offices all over the place. And the weeks go by, and you get tied up in other meetings and problems and isolation. As I said, go in the bunker and don't come out till you got the answer. That's kind of what they did when they developed the atomic bomb. The president said, "You go in there and don't come out till you are done." And because and Disney did that too when they went through a whole organizational change and added all these new elements to the ticket prices and all. They met in a room, the key people, for a year, every Thursday, all day. They focused on that because it was so complex. And you needed those people in the room when you had an idea to look at them and see, is this feasible? Really, can we do this? Does this make sense? Because ideas flow a mile a minute, and you need everybody to feel good about speaking up. And when you go ahead and set up the meeting that way and say, we don't know the answers. We just need all of us to say what you think. Let's get to it. I need everybody, and we need to get this done by December 15th of next year. And we're going to meet, and because this is the most important thing to our business right now. So we've really got to work hard on getting people to tell us that last 20% of what they're thinking, good, bad, or indifferent. And it's like everybody holds out the last 20%, including your kids. They just don't quite finish the story. And the most important part's the part people leave out. And so we got to encourage that we get enough trust and an open environment where people say, okay, he really wants to know. Because I can tell you what, I'm the boss. I didn't know. I had no idea. I needed them. I had no idea. And so I encourage that style of let's all get back on equal ground when we're solving problems and not think one person's the boss and somebody else. What we want is everybody's what they know and the information they have and their ideas. That's how you'll come together with a big plan that works instead of worrying about what the boss might think if I say this. And that's why I always tell people today, have your meetings at a round table, not at a rectangular table, because a round table means we're all in this together. Rectangular table with the boss sitting up at the top of the table, and kind of sends a message to those people down at the end, or they're messing around, looking at their phones, not paying attention. And I think that's a lot of these approaches are really important today. Of we're solving a problem, we're not thinking about corporate and concerns about that. We have a problem to solve. We need to solve it. We need the right people in the room. And if we're along the way, we don't have the right people in the room, we'll get somebody else to join us. When we find we're into a subject that we don't understand, we don't know how to do, and we're not sure. And sometimes you have to go outside and get some more help with somebody that's better than you are. Sometimes you got to just do more research on the internet until you find people doing it and having a lot of success with it, and then just duplicate it as much as you can. There's no new ideas. All ideas are somebody else's ideas that you make a little better. And so that's we've got to get this more open. We got to get people to be more open. That's where we're losing it. Is that what they don't tell us, what we don't know. As you know, as I always say, you get in trouble for what you don't know, not what you do know. You make decisions with a bunch of information you don't know, and then it bites you. And more and more, I always wonder when I meet with somebody, did they tell me everything? Is there something else here? And I encourage them. Is there anything else you want to tell me? I'll keep it confidential. I won't get you in trouble. I need your thoughts, and because they're different than mine, because we are different. We have different jobs. We have different backgrounds. We have different education. We have different exposure, and I need to know what you think about this. So that's it. Let them ask away, and they may ask you some really tough ones, and you can just tell them what you think. And if you don't know, tell them I'll get back to you tomorrow. I'm going to go find out. I don't know the answer to that question. And when they ask you hard ones like Michael Eisner, I would say, I think it's easy to say, oh, well, I don't think he should have said that, but that's all. I wouldn't say, oh yeah, he's the boss. That's great. Monkeys could run the place. No, I'm not gonna. You gotta live by what you believe and your reputation right there on the spot. And that's why you need to know who you are and what you believe in before you go in and start having discussions with people about progress, because your values are going to be tested. With people especially, and your commitment, you're going to get tested every day. People are going to say, see, he didn't do what he always talks about. He said no. It's mind-boggling how we are being evaluated every day by everybody we come in contact with. So we need to be more careful about our influence. We have a lot of influence. You have a huge amount of influence with people. You have a huge amount of influence with your kids, with your clients. And that I was talking to a guy this morning, and we said, you just got to really pay attention to what's going on around you. And I said, you got to pay attention like a woman should pay attention when she's in a dark parking lot at night by herself. That kind of a know what's happening, paying attention. We say some people hear, but they're not listening. Some people see, but they don't see what they should have seen, the problem. And so it's an interesting subject to try to get an organization has a culture where people are not afraid. They psychologically are safe to speak up. And that's probably the hardest thing we have to work on, psychological safety. Because that we all worry about that more than we do our physical safety, frankly. And your brain talks to you all day long, all night long. So that's what I think we need to do. Open it up.
And Lee, I think we look at that Michael Eisner question, if you had not said, I don't think he should have said that, people would have known that. If you had said anything else, people would have known Lee's not being true.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's where you really get in trouble right then. It's a moment of truth.
Yeah.
He
Moment
talks a
of
big
truth.
story, but does he deal with it? And and those are hard because when they come out of left field, you're not expecting them. That's why you got to be prepared to know who you are and to, you know, I don't think my client, even if I said, I said that, he's not going to fire me for saying that. And maybe he didn't even say it for all I know. But if he did, he shouldn't have.
Yeah. Well, Lee, you've drawn a direct link in answering tough questions and then being able to get that last 20% of truth and information out of people.
Yeah.
And so you did these sessions, 3 sessions. How, and it just makes me think, how do you, if I start saying, okay, ask me tough questions, people are going to test the water. How do you let people test the water, see how it goes, and eventually believe, okay, Lee really is going to answer candidly if I ask a tough question?
Yeah, I think your reputation is created one day at a time, and hopefully by the time we had that meeting, they kind of trusted me, and that was the big test right there. Is okay, we don't all know him; he's not been here that long, and I'm sure after that I had got a lot more people supporting me because I gave some answers they probably did not expect. They expected the corporate answer, and I just when they say, "Why do you get a car?" I said, "Hey, man, that's part of my salary, and I got it, and I hope you get one too." And or why do you make so much money? I said, "Well, I've got a lot of experience, and hopefully you'll make that kind of money one day too." And it's just and people say, "Well, you don't pay us enough." I said, "Well, there's jobs to pay more, but you're not qualified. If you'll get qualified, go back to school, get this experience. Guy, your job pays $12 an hour, and we have electricians' jobs that pay $50 an hour. But you're not an electrician, so get to be an electrician, and then you can have that job. That's kind of the way the world works. You get paid for what you can do, and they like that actually. They like that. There are jobs that pay more for everybody. You just got to be qualified for them so we can put you in them. And I think one other thing is always be thinking about the hardest questions and you're going to be asked and be already have your answers in your brain. And today, I'm prepared to give my opinion about anything that because I think about all of them. What if they ask me this? What if and that? I mean, it's like, yeah, well, here we go. Because when you don't do that, then you got everybody mad at you. So when you go down the right path, you have at least half the supporters supporting you. So tricky.
Yeah.
Leadership
And
jobs are
that
tricky.
that reminds me when we were doing an event in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, and someone asked a question that really was unexpected. It came out of, it wasn't in line with anything you had talked about, anything that other people had asked. And I just remember thinking, oh no, I don't know how this is going to go. And you and so I sometimes play a game with myself where I know what I'm going to ask you, and then I see how close what I think your answer is to what your answer is. And it's usually pretty well in line. I know you well enough. I have an
Yeah,
idea where you're going to go. And that when that lady asked the question, you answered in the way that when I said, okay, in the split second between from when she answered, I said, well, this is, I know what Lee believes. And sure enough, you answered in what you believed in. And you could feel a little, there was something shifted in the audience when you gave a candid answer about a tough question, a tough topic.
I didn't love that question at the moment it came out of her mouth. I'm going, okay, here we go. But
Yeah.
it, just go ahead and let your brain say what you think, what you live,
What do you,
what you,
What do you
yeah,
do with those? Before an event, let's say you're going to talk to your team and you're going to hold a session where you said, you can ask me anything, but you have something in your mind that you say, I sure hope they don't ask about that. Do
yeah.
you?
I think you got to be prepared. You just got to. You can't even be prepared. You just got to know who you are. And last week I was working with a university, 200 HR people, and somebody brought up annual reviews, performance reviews, and there I said I hate it. I hate those things, man. I think that's the most ridiculous thing that ever happened. And that's their bag, performance reviews. I said I just don't believe it. I say people should know every day how they're doing. You should got a problem, you've talked to them. If you want to give them a review, write one paragraph about two or three things they can do better next year. And but going through this checklist, I said I don't agree with that, and I got a positive response from him, Franco. I mean, it's uh, a lot of times people are having to support things they don't believe in either. I mean, all
Yeah,
of it. I mean, we've been through that. Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah. And that's the thing especially when you have a middle management position, you have to carry out a lot of things you don't agree with. And your role is to give your point of view until the decision is made. And then once the decision is made, it's your role to carry it out, whether you like it or not. And that can be a tough spot.
absolutely. And so anyway, it's a good thing for all of us to think about.
Yeah, that's right. Well, Lee, this was great, and it's got me thinking about some of the events we've got coming up. The next Creating Magic Mastermind is going to be in October in Orlando. And if you want to find out about that, reach out to either one of us. I say this every time, but I think it's going to be our best one. Lee, did you realize it's number 10? Our next one is our 10th one.
I told somebody that yesterday that inquired about it on the internet on LinkedIn. I think I said this will be not our number 10, our 10th. Yeah,
Yeah. So I'm trying to work up a couple of special things for number 10. It's like a special anniversary of sorts.
yeah. Well, you can change the dates. I don't. That's no problem.
Yeah, well, we'll announce it when we have everything set. But if you want to find out events, we try to put them on cockerellstore.com. That's where you can find out what events are coming up. So, Lee, thank you for the great conversation and answering the tough questions. And thank you for listening to Creating Disney Magic. Until next week, go out and create magic for others.